Within manga, there are several different genres and even demographics within the industry that can appeal to many different audiences. Whether it be action adventure, mystery, romance, there's always a series out there that's able to appeal to the myriad of interests that people tend to have. Now, you're probably thinking, why am I telling you all this? You probably know all this already. Well, one of my favorite manga that I've been caught up with throughout the past year is Call of the Night, a romance series which, ironically enough, isn't only defined by the idea of its two main characters being engaged in romantic tension. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about Call of the Night and discuss why it's one of my favorite manga that I've personally ever read, and I'm being so serious when I say that. Mild spoiler warning, I won't try to talk too crazy, but if it gets to a point where I need to talk heavy spoilers, you'll know. Now, to kick this video off, one of the things that I really appreciate and love about Call of the Night for starters are just the vibes and that sense of camp that the series presents to its audience. With me, the vibes always need to be immaculate, and there's something that's so comfy about its two characters, Nazuna and Ko, just hanging out with no real strings attached. And these two characters are of course the backbone that makes this series work at all. Ko being a teenager who basically quit going to school due to the lack of fulfillment and purpose it gave him during his everyday life, as well as him just being tired of forcing his persona of being a perfect student on not just himself, but the people around him when it does nothing to benefit him. It's something I think many people can relate to, and even his own mother is supportive of this line of thinking once she finds out about it. And the two have a really strong relationship with each other. Even though Ko goes out at night wearing nothing but some shorts, a black jacket, and some white Air Forces, he is a menace. With Nazuna, she's a vampire, which I guess if you want to look at it one way, that's the twist of this series for starters. And Nazuna presents Ko with the opportunity to fall in love with her so that he too can become a vampire himself, even though she is someone who is not mentally or even emotionally equipped to handle romantic situations. These two characters couldn't be any different, with one not even fully comprehending what it means to love someone in Ko, and the other trying to keep connections like the one she forms with Ko at a minimum. And yet, despite all of that, Nazuna and Ko work seamlessly with each other, each of them bouncing off the other as Ko tries to understand what love truly is, as he wants to fall in love for himself. That is his main goal at the end of the day. Like I said before, the vibes of Call of the Night are immaculate, as its beginning chapters are not only focused on Ko and Nazuna, but also introducing each of its cast members and establishing their relationship with Ko, such as his friend Akira. I really like most of the cast of this series, as each of them play into this theme of the nightlife in many different ways. The slice of life element of the series is honestly just really enjoyable, as it's different from your traditional slice of life since nightlife is the backdrop. And a lot of the mundane things that Kotoyama has his characters do have genuine character drama etched into it. Like, one chapter has Ko and Nazuna visiting a zoo in Tokyo, and they sort of realize, or Ko sort of realizes, that because vampires aren't necessarily able to be active during the day, this is something that vampires can't necessarily enjoy the way that regular people can. It's one of those things that puts Ko's dream of becoming a vampire into perspective, showcasing not just the positives, but also the negatives of it, which I think is really nice. Call of the Night is also hilarious. The comedy of the series is just really great, and it's a constant throughout the series, which gives levity to those really serious moments that the series does have. Now, while I love the romantic element of the series, Kotoyama's writing for Call of the Night is what made it stand out so much to me, to the point where I really wanted to make a video on it. See, Call of the Night isn't only defined by being a romance series, like I said earlier, but instead uses the idea and places emphasis on the nighttime as a way for people to gain a sense of fulfillment and purpose within their lives, on top of asking its audience genuinely heavy and thought-provoking questions such as what does it mean to truly love someone, and whether that love can be seen as just love or as a form of lust or obsession, and that love can be defined in many different ways. The series is also able to switch up its tone on a dime and sort of bend the genre that it's in and treat itself as something that's based just as much in supernatural drama, mystery, and action, as well as just romance by itself. While the first 40 or so chapters, or the whole first season in the anime, are dedicated to Ko sort of figuring out his purpose and becoming a vampire and fully committing to his relationship with Nazuna, both in the present and in the future, the introduction of the character of Anko acts as the turning point for both the storytelling and tone of the series. See, Anko is a detective who's shown to have a real disdain for vampires, and from her introduction forward, she acts as basically the main antagonist of the series for a point, as the main group tries to figure out who she really is and why she hates vampires so much, which leads to us learning about not only Nazuna's mother, but also how Nazuna was born, taking her character in a new direction as she wishes to learn more about herself and her past, which really made Nazuna become one of my favorite female characters in manga. Not to mention the fact that she grows past that inability to communicate and talk about romance at all, given that her reason for even doing so is because of how much she cares about Ko and his well-being. It's really sweet to see her put her best foot forward to try to develop more as a person for the sake of someone that she cares about. It's really nice, and I very much appreciate that. We also learn about Nazuna's connection to Anko as well, which not only recontextualizes who Anko is as a character, making her honestly one of the best characters in the series as a whole, but also Nazuna as well, as we learn a lot of things that really recontextualizes her relationship with Ko and why she made it such a goal of hers to not get close to others. The climax of this arc revolving around Anko was what really made this one of the best manga arcs I've read within recent memory. I am so serious, as Kotoyama was able to give closure to certain plot lines, but also segue into the following arc featuring Hoshimi Kiku and Ko's friend Mahiru flawlessly. Kotoyama took these two characters and created this almost weird inverse of Ko and Nazuna, taking a character who's been in too many romantic situations in Kiku and Ko's friend Mahiru, who he sculpted his perfect image after, having a terrible relationship with his parents. This Hoshimi Kiku arc is unironically also peak fiction, which is crazy to me because how do you write a saga like the Halloween arc, which is pretty much everything the series was about at that point, and then follow that up with an arc that's just as good, if not better in many ways, which expands not only on the main cast, but Kotoyama just decided he was gonna flex his action skills. And he also commits to one of the most heartbreaking plot twists I've genuinely ever seen, showing that he's just not afraid to do things other mangaka would find it hard to do at all. Now, I know in this video, I've been extremely vague about certain plot points and I've kept things very mild in terms of spoilers, but that's because this video isn't really necessarily meant to be sort of a review and more meant to motivate you guys to read Call of the Night. I don't want to spoil every plot twist within this series because this is a series that should be experienced with fresh eyes since it's genuinely that good to me. Even during and after all the serious moments have happened and most of the plot points that Kotoyama had left open for the majority of the series had been concluded as we march towards what feels like the end of the series, Call of the Night has never lost that same sense of charm and camp that made me want to experience more of it in the first place. I mean, after Halloween, the series has an entire chapter dedicated to Ko getting dumped. I mean, what series does that? Even after the Halloween and Hoshimi Kiku arcs, the series never lost sight of its identity and is never afraid to be openly comedic, which I love. It's this aspect of it that makes it special because Kotoyama shows that he not only knows his audience, but that he recognizes what made his series successful in the first place. I really love Call of the Night, and I hope that this inspires all of you watching to hopefully check out the series for yourselves, and to hopefully love it just as much as I do. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.